What if the greatest secret of manifestation was never hidden in the stars? What if it was never locked away in ancient temples, secret societies, or forgotten scrolls? What if it has been resting quietly within your own mind this entire time, waiting for the moment you were finally ready to see it? Pause there for a second. Because maybe you have felt this before. Maybe you have prayed. Maybe you have visualized. Maybe you have spoken your desires into the silence, hoping the universe would finally answer you. Maybe you have spent nights lying awake, carrying a longing so deep you could barely explain it. And somewhere in that silence, you started asking the question that changes everything. Why does it seem like some people move through life as if doors open for them effortlessly, while others keep hitting the same invisible wall? Why do some people seem to attract opportunity, love, money, timing, and momentum, while others repeat the same cycle over and over again? And what if none of that is random? What if life is not chaos? What if reality is not chance? What if the universe is responding to a hidden code that most people were never taught how to use? Stay with this channel, because what you are about to hear is not just another technique. It is a way of seeing reality that can alter how you move through your entire life. This is where Nikola Tesla enters the story like lightning splitting open the sky. Not only as an inventor, not only as the brilliant mind who helped illuminate the modern world through alternating current, but as a man who seemed to see through the surface of reality itself. Tesla did not think like ordinary men. He did not only think in terms of machines and wires. He thought in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. He thought in terms of the hidden architecture behind what most people call matter. And when he said that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, those were not decorative words. That was not poetry. That was a key, a doorway, a code. And for many people, the numbers 3, 6, and 9 are the simplest visible shape of that code. Now most people misunderstand manifestation from the very beginning. They think manifestation is asking. They think it is wishing. They think it is repeating desires loudly enough that the universe will eventually surrender. But reality does not respond to begging. The universe does not bend for desperation. It responds to resonance. It responds to the signal you are truly transmitting beneath your words. That is why two people can say the same affirmation, perform the same ritual, and still get completely different results. Because words are only the surface. The real command is hidden underneath. In your emotional state. In your internal identity. In the vibration your body is broadcasting all day long. And the 369 method, when it is understood correctly, is not superstition about numbers. It is a sacred structure for aligning your signal with the reality you want to call into your life. If something in you already feels that, remember this channel. Because hidden truths only matter when they are remembered at the right time. You have probably felt this without knowing how to explain it. There are days when you walk into a room, and before you even speak, people can feel your energy. There are moments when joy moves through you so strongly that everything seems to flow. The right conversation happens. The right person appears. The right opportunity opens. And then there are other days. Days when fear sits in your chest like a shadow. Days when everything feels heavy. Days when it seems as if the world itself is echoing back your anxiety. That is not coincidence. That is law. The outside world is the screen. Your inner world is the projector. But most people keep trying to wipe the screen clean while the image is still being cast from their own mind, their own emotions, their own field. Tesla understood something very few people truly understand. Nothing is ever still. Everything vibrates. The stone you believe is solid is vibrating beyond the limits of your senses. Your body vibrates. Your thoughts vibrate. Your emotions vibrate. And even your heart generates an electromagnetic field powerful enough to shape your state in ways science is only beginning to grasp. When these vibrations become coherent, they do not merely affect mood. They begin to shape events. They begin to bend timing. They begin to shift probability. They begin to influence the very pattern of your life. This is where 3, 6, and 9 stop being ordinary numbers and become a pattern of creation. 3 is intention. 3 is the act of choosing. 3 is the narrowing of energy into a clear direction. 6 is reinforcement. 6 is repetition. 6 is how the chosen signal is pressed deeper into the mind and nervous system. And 9 is completion. 9 is energetic sealing. 9 is the point where thought is given enough emotional force to begin crossing from idea into formation. Stay close to this channel. Because once you understand the pattern behind the numbers, you stop treating manifestation like fantasy and start recognizing it as a law of alignment. Now here is the first reason most people fail. They assume the method did not work because they did not repeat enough. Or because they did not write the right words. Or because they did not sound convincing enough. But the deepest failure is not in the method. It is in the identity using the method. You can say, I am wealthy, 100 times. But if your nervous system is still living in fear, still bracing for lack, still expecting collapse, then the signal you are sending is not wealth. It is lack dressed in beautiful language. You can say, I am worthy of love, every day for a month. But if the deeper part of you still believes abandonment is inevitable, reality will respond to the deeper belief, not the outer sentence. This is what most people never realize. The universe does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you consistently are. That changes everything, because now the question is no longer, how do I ask better? The real question becomes, who is the one asking? If that question hits something deep in you, keep this channel in your mind. Because the most powerful teachings are not the ones that comfort the ego. They are the ones that expose what has been running your life in silence. So how does the 369 method actually work when used properly? It begins with 3 affirmations. Only 3, not 10, not 20, not a whole page of scattered desire. Because scattered energy is weak energy. 3 affirmations become 3 arrows aimed in the same direction. They need to be clear. They need to be present tense. And they need to be emotionally alive. You do not say, I will have. Because the future keeps moving away from you. You do not say, I want. Because desire confirms absence. You speak as someone standing inside the reality already beginning to form. You might say, I am grateful that prosperity is opening in my life now. I am aligned with opportunities that increase my wealth. I am living in the frequency of abundance, ease, and expansion. The words do not need to be complicated. They need to feel real enough to move your body. Because the body is where the signal becomes believable. Then comes the 6 times a day. And this is where many people turn a sacred tool into an empty routine. They rush through it. They repeat the words with no charge. They treat it like homework. But 6 is not there to exhaust you. 6 is there to create familiarity. The human mind is programmed by repetition. Your old fears became powerful because they were repeated. Your old limits became convincing because they were rehearsed. Your old identity became solid because it was emotionally practiced again and again. So 6 times a day is how you begin planting a different pattern into the same soil. Every repetition tells your subconscious, this is the state I choose now. This is the identity I accept now. This is the reality I'm no longer treating as distant. And then we come to the number 9. 9 seconds for each affirmation. That may sound small, but it is not small at all. It is precise. 9 seconds is short enough that your mind cannot drift too far. And long enough that your emotion can actually enter the words. In those 9 seconds, you do not just speak. You stop, you feel, you let the statement descend into the body. If your affirmation is about money, do not merely imagine numbers. Feel relief, feel freedom, feel the quiet dignity of no longer surviving in fear. If it is about love, do not only picture a person. Feel safety, feel warmth, feel what it is like to be chosen without begging. If it is about health, do not only say the word healing. Let your body taste vitality before it fully arrives. That is the key. The body must meet the future before the future becomes physical. This is the moment when 369 stops being a number sequence and becomes an activator. Because according to the logic of frequency and the quantum field, every possibility already exists as a vibrational pattern in the unseen. What you call, not here yet, does not mean it does not exist. It means you have not fully synchronized with its frequency. Your desire is not being invented at the moment you ask for it. It already exists as potential, as probability, as a pathway in the invisible structure of reality. Your job is not to create it from nothing. Your job is to become coherent enough to draw it out of the invisible and into the visible. And few things are more powerful than a stable signal repeated with genuine feeling. That is why this method has force. Not because the numbers are magic by themselves, but because they become a ritual of coherence. If this is opening your eyes, remember this channel. Because some teachings do not come to entertain you. They come to reactivate something ancient inside you. Now let us make this practical. Imagine your desire is financial abundance. Most people would write something weak like, I want more money. And then they wonder why nothing changes. That sentence has no body, no charge, no identity. Instead, imagine saying, I am grateful that more than $10,000 is flowing into my life in unexpected and harmonious ways. That is different. Now the statement has structure. It has emotional direction. It has a field around it. When you say it, do not skim over it. Let your mind see the version of you who is already living differently. Let your chest open. Let your body feel what ease would be like. Let your heart receive that abundance as something real enough to approach you. Then add 2 more affirmations that support the same field. I am worthy of endless prosperity. I am in perfect alignment with wealth, opportunity, and increase. 3 statements. 6 times a day. 9 seconds each. 9 consecutive days. At that point, you are no longer just repeating words. You are reprogramming identity. And understand this clearly. The results do not begin on day 9. The results begin the moment you stop transmitting the old signal. The moment you stop waking up from lack. The moment you stop asking from fear. The moment you stop saying one thing while emotionally living in another. The outer world may take time to rearrange itself. But the field changes first. You feel it before you see it. A new steadiness. A strange calm. A subtle sense that something is moving behind the curtain of life. And that feeling matters. Because what people call synchronicity, coincidence, perfect timing, and sudden opportunity often appears after the inner signal becomes strong enough to be mirrored by reality. But then comes the part nobody likes. Resistance. Because the moment you begin to shift, the old self begins to panic. You will have days when the method feels fake. You will have moments when your own mind mocks you. You will feel impatient. You will feel tired. You will wonder whether any of this is real. That is not failure. That is contact. That is what happens when the old programming realizes it is being challenged. The ego does not fear pain as much as it fears the unfamiliar. It would rather remain in a familiar prison than step into a freedom it does not yet understand. So the moment you start carrying a new frequency, the old identity will pull backward. It will dress fear up as logic. It will call doubt maturity. It will call quitting common sense. Do not surrender too quickly. The final layer of resistance is often the closest sign that change is near. So many people stop 1 centimeter before the diamond. Not because the diamond is not there. Not because the universe said no. But because the last layer of darkness is usually the loudest. The closer you move toward change, the more the old architecture rises to defend itself. Old memories return. Old fears return. Old emotional patterns return. Even people around you may unconsciously try to pull you back toward who you used to be. If you do not understand this, you will think life is attacking you. But what is really happening is simple. The old system is losing control. That is why this method must be protected. You cannot spend 5 minutes calling in abundance and then spend the next 12 hours bathing in fear, envy, bitterness, and mental noise. The mind is a garden. You cannot plant seeds of light and then water weeds all day and expect a miracle. Put your affirmations where your eyes can meet them often. On your mirror, in your phone, in your wallet, on your desk. Not as decoration, as sacred reminders, as markers calling you back to the self that is being created. And here is the deeper truth. The 369 method is not only for attracting things outside of you. It is for recreating the person within you. When you repeat a living affirmation with enough emotional force, you are not just calling in an event. You are sculpting a new self. The person who receives wealth is not different only because of money. They are different because of capacity, because of regulation, because of what they have finally become available for. The person who enters healthy love is not different only because someone arrived. They are different because they stopped transmitting emotional hunger. The method does not make you magnetic by sprinkling magic over your life. It makes you magnetic by changing the being behind the desire. If that truth resonates, keep this channel close. Because real manifestation is never just about receiving more. It is about becoming more coherent. And this is also where action enters the picture. Manifestation is not sitting still and waiting for the universe to do everything for you. When alignment becomes real, you begin acting differently. You notice opportunities you used to ignore. You send the message you were once afraid to send. You apply. You move. You speak. You step forward. This is aligned action. Not frantic action. Not desperate action. Not fear-driven action. It is action born from inner coherence. And when your inner signal and your outer movement stop fighting each other, reality responds faster. That is when things start to shift in a way that feels almost impossible. If you stay with this channel, let this be one thing you remember. The universe responds most powerfully when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions begin speaking the same language. If you remain faithful to the 9-day cycle, the first change may not appear outside of you. It may appear inside of you. You may feel a new force gathering. A sense that life is no longer mute. A sense that some invisible current has started moving again. You may begin noticing signs you once ignored. A sentence that arrives at the perfect time. A meeting you did not expect. A sudden clarity. A new chance. An inner push to move instead of postpone. Do not underestimate small shifts. Reality rarely transforms in one loud explosion. It often begins with subtle changes in probability. And when those subtle changes are nourished, they become the breakthrough people later call a miracle. Tesla did not live like an ordinary man because he did not see the universe the way ordinary people do. He understood that beneath matter is order. Beneath events is frequency. Beneath fate is vibration. And although the world remembers him for electricity, coils, motors, and invention, his deeper legacy may be this. The human being is not powerless. Within you there is more than desire. There is a broadcasting field. An invisible temple where thought becomes cause, emotion becomes current, and life becomes effect. So when you take hold of the 369 method, do not hold it like a superstitious person searching for rescue. Hold it like someone remembering buried power. 3 affirmations to choose the reality. 6 repetitions to build the bridge. 9 seconds to breathe spirit into each command. 9 days to begin bending old momentum. And then continue, not because you are chasing magic, but because you are stepping into law. In the end, the secret is not really in the numbers. The secret is in the one who uses them. The 369 method will do nothing for you if you cling with all your strength to the old version of yourself. But when your thoughts, your emotions, and your embodied state begin moving in one direction, when you stop begging and start broadcasting, when you stop standing outside the door and begin walking like someone already called by destiny, reality will have no choice but to rearrange itself. The universe does not respond to your pleas. It responds to the frequency you dare to become. And when you truly understand that, 369 is no longer just a technique. It becomes a remembrance, a moment of awakening, a moment when you realize the power was never outside you. It was always within you, waiting to be awakened, waiting to be transmitted, waiting to become the life you were always meant to live. And if something in you felt that while listening, remember this channel. Because some doors only open once, but the ones that matter most open inward.